Britain's crime record is worse than any other country in the European Union, with almost 86,000 citizens currently in prison, a rise of almost 800 in the last year alone. Why is it so high, and why do people commit crime in the first place? Dave Hyam is Chief Executive of the Well Communities, but was once a prolific offender.
I first got into crime. In my young years, it was to feed a drug habit. At 12, going on to 14, I was on the heroin at 14, and then you needed a bit more money for that. I didn't know I was on heroin for the first year or so. I thought it was just gear. I didn't know gear and heroin were the same thing. So I'd start shoplifting, stealing out of cars, to commercial burglaries, and that was my first sentence.
Cumbria Police Headquarters is the home of Crime Commissioner Richard Rhodes, who deals with rural crime and victim support.
People commit crime for a whole range of reasons. At the most extreme, I suppose they commit crime in order to eat. At the other end, they perhaps commit crime because they're avaricious and greedy. In the middle, there are lots of people who commit crime because the opportunity presents itself, because they're tempted, or they're persuaded that it's the right way forward.
Some of it is that people are in a state of desperation, so they have nothing. So if they do that kind of cost-benefit analysis, they've got nothing to lose by committing crime, because if you're homeless and you commit crime, you could go to prison, but you've got shelter and you've got food. Other people, I've supervised a lot of gang members, so sometimes it's part of the initiation about committing crime, just to show that they're committed to the cause. And then you've got another group of offenders that I've supervised during my time of probation, where it's domestic violent offenders or sexual offenders. And for a lot of them, it's entirely different. It is about power and control.
At the age of 16, till the age of 37, I spent most of my life in prison, and I never knew society. I never knew what it was like to function, because every time I left prison, I went back to crime and I went back to drugs, and I was not out longer than 6 months. And that the last years of my using, I was just desperate. I didn't care if I lived or died. And I just wanted a new way of life. I just wanted a new, and I never got introduced to it until I got sent to prison for 4.5 years, and I found a 12-step program. And from that moment, I started that program. I've never used since, and that's been over 10 years.
Dave set up the Well in 2012 and believes organisations like this help individuals turn away from crime. Rehabilitation is an effective way to change the life of an offender.
When I got out of prison, I was really alone. So that's when I had the idea that we need something in the community-led, for people coming out of prison, people leaving detox, people leaving rehab, to a flagship to draw people to, that, you know, you can have meaningful relationships with people in a community that will help sustain your recovery.
I think it's a question of realising the consequences of their actions. I think restorative justice is a way in which that can be done. You get the criminal to meet the person who's had the crime committed against them, and if the criminal can come to terms with the consequences of what they've done on an individual basis, I think they have more chance of not offending again in the future.
Dave expresses that offenders need a place to interact with each other through activities and workshops, which the Well provides.
The therapeutic value of one person helping another is what sustains, in my opinion, people's recovery. So people come to Well and they can get involved in the women's group. We run women's support groups, family support groups, men's support groups. We use mutual aid meetings, activities. We have a social enterprise kitchen. We teach people how to cook. We mentor people into job roles.
A key part of the programme is really about giving back. So the house is a way of the Well repaying the community, and that's something that's a big part of the ethos here, about paying back. Seeing people really embrace their kind of faults and make changes is enormously rewarding.
Dave has come a long way from offender to Chief Executive of the Well.
do you know what, I've got a family, I'm married and I've got 2 beautiful children, I've got a job and I've got my house and I've got my wife, and it's like, I'm absolutely over the moon and I'm doing the job I love and was born to do.